Beruchim Habayim. Moshe Langado speaking under the auspices of KOLLEL A'Havat Israel. Shabbat Shalom, Parshat Bo. In this parsha we have the first mitzvah which was commanded to Klal Yisrael. Yes, we have the mitzvot in the book of Bereshit of Brit Milah and the mitzvah of Pru Urvu given to Adam HaRishon and the mitzvah of Gira Nasheh. But as a nation, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem is really the first mitzvah. And we're commanded to make a calendar. And the calendar is based on the cycles of the moon. At the beginning of the month, we see a new moon and we proclaim the new month. And as the days go on, the moon waxes till it becomes a full moon by the 15th of the month. And after the 15th, it starts waning and gets smaller and smaller and smaller till by the end of the month, it has disappeared. And it reappears the next day, inaugurating again the new month. So our months are based on the cycle of the moon. But there is a problem, and the problem has to be fixed. What is that problem? The problem is if I take 12 lunar months, I only have approximately 354 days. And the solar year is 365 days. And we as Jews have to be able to mesh the lunar year with the solar year together. For what purpose? Because the holidays have to be in certain seasons. Pesach has to be in Chodesh Aviv. And if we do not mesh them together, every year we lose 11 days in the lunar year. And by the time we have 5-6 years pass, Pesach will not be in the spring anymore, but will be in the heart of the winter. So therefore, what do? Therefore, we add a month. In a 19-year cycle, we have 7 years which have an added month, which are called leap years. And that makes an equivalency between the lunar year and the solar year. That becomes the first mitzvah of the Torah to the Jewish nation as a whole. HaChodesh Hazeh Rosh Chodashim. Okay. But let us speak about another point also in the parsha. When I open up the parsha, it tells us, Bo el Paro ki ani hichbadati et libo. Go in front of Paro. Why should you go in front of Paro? Because I have hardened his heart. That's why I should go in front of Paro. That's the reason I shouldn't go in front of Paro. And later on in the same verse it says, and Ulaman tisaper bozne bincha uben bincha et asher hitalalti b'Mitzrayim. Hitalalti. What does hitalalti mean? Which I toyed with Egypt. I played with them. God plays. What is the understanding? And my friends, there's no question that when we learn the story of Pharaoh and the Egyptians, we know that they were bad people. They were evil. They took a nation which they should have given thanks to for saving them from years of famine, Yosef HaTzadik, and taking their economy and making it a great country of antiquity. But rather, what do? They enslave and put our people in bondage. And it was not nice, and it was not kind how they did it. Our children were drowned in the Nile. Our women and our men had to work back-breaking labor. And if a man died making bricks, there was not time to take the body out and to give it a proper burial. His burial was in the bricks. He became part and parcel of the bricks. prior to the 1940s, prior to World War II, most people would not believe it. But after we saw how cruel men could be, Yamach Shemam, the Nazis, then we saw that the Egyptians had the same heart of stone. And God played with them. Why did he play with them? Why did he toy with them? Why did he harden the heart of Pharaoh? And I would like to suggest an answer. And it's an answer to many questions in history. You know, Pharaoh was an evil man. But can you imagine if Moses came to him and after the Makav Dam, he says, Moses, take your people out. Pharaoh would be a symbol of greatness maybe in our eyes. We would do what? We would have a holiday honoring his birthday, the man who freed us. History sometimes plays games. Can we imagine how different people in history, which were horrible people in our own times, and became considered men of peace? Do you remember a man named Arafat? Arafat came to the White House. He was the man of peace. The murderer who at the moment that he was talking peace, his people were sabotaging and killing innocent people. In kindergartens, bombs were planted. Trucks were rammed into bus stops where mothers and children were waiting for buses. And he was called the man of peace. And can we imagine Sadat, not taking anything away from Sadat, but he was a follower in theory. His hero was Hitler, Yamach Shemam. But when he came to the White House to make peace, all of a sudden he was called a hero, a man of greatness. Ask Mr. Carter. He will talk about Sadat as a great man, but the true man of peace, Menachem Begin, was disliked. History plays games on us sometimes. And men of greatness become men forgotten. And wicked men raised to such heights, and history ignores all their evil. God was not going to let that happen to Pharaoh. Let Pharaoh show us how he was not a good man and how he would let his country go into destruction, but would not let the Jews out. Maybe that's why God hardened his heart, to show us who truly was. My friends, let us understand that we have a history and the Goyim have a history, and they may not always be the same. Oh, it seems to be the same facts, the same stories, the same occurrences, but the way we look at it and the way they look at it are two different approaches altogether. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll all be zocheh to see be'emet, the real truth, and we'll be zocheh to bi'at HaMashiach b'mheira b'yameinu. Amen.